It's day 17. Did you know 17 is my favorite number? Don't know why, but it is. All right, it's day 17, and we are looking at First Timothy 3 9 and 10, continuing the topic of deacons. So, beginning in verse 9, they must keep hold of the deep truths of the faith with a clear conscience. They must first be tested, and if there is nothing against them, let them serve as deacons. Interesting. I don't know what they're talking about, deep truths of the faith. Like, we don't, you know, you, I can think of many different things, but we don't know for sure what Paul is referring to here. But what I kind of think about, with this is certain truths that are hard, that some people like to change, like to dismiss, like to say, like, well, it's not like that anymore. So one of those might be that there's people going to hell. That this is a truth, a reality of life that is hard to take hold of. It's hard to grasp, hard to acknowledge. And there's many people. There's a preacher named Rob Bell who rejects this, who says that everyone will eventually go to heaven, and they're called universalists. And it's real. It's really hard. So it's like they must keep hold of the truths of the faith with a clear conscience. It means that, those things that are hard, those things that are uncomfortable, but they're true. So that's the thing about this. A lot of times when we don't like something, when we disagree with something, we just like, well, that can't be true. Truth is not based on our perspective. It's not based upon our opinion. Truth is truth, regardless of what we think it is or not. And so we have to take hold of those. We have to just come to the realization that it's going to be true whether we like it or not, and we need to try to understand it, try to wrap our mind around it, and not try to change it or uh, just dismiss it. There's this Paul was he'd have a lot of people that they were called Gnostics, that was a break off of Christianity, and they believed all this kind of crazy stuff because one of the things is they didn't understand evil, where evil came from, and so they literally made up more gods, and they tried to explain that the devil was like anti-God, and that Jesus was like a medium kind of God, not part of the Trinity and stuff like that. And just because they didn't understand what evil was, they didn't understand how it came to be, and so instead of pursuing God in that, trying to understand that, they just made up all these things. Gnosticism means sacred knowledge, so they just came up with this kind of stuff just to try to explain away the things that they didn't understand. And I think that's really important, is that you couldn't have a deacon, you couldn't have someone in charge that, if they're wrestling with these issues, they just decide, you know what, I'll just kind of, go this way with this answer, even though, like they just make up something or they dismiss it. And the next part is they must first be tested, and if there is nothing against them, let them serve as deacons. I think, in our world today, no one likes to be tested. We hate tests. And so we just kind of like, well, if they're a good person, let's let them do it. There's lots of people out there. And this is the sad truth, that they need to be tested. In every church that I've ever been a part of, they do a background check on me. I've been background checked like 8 times. And they do it on all the leaders and stuff like that, because there is child predators out there. There's sex offenders and stuff that they want to hide that, and that's a form of testing, is to make sure that there is nothing back there that could hurt the youth, the kids, and stuff like that, because this person is trying to hide it. And there's other ways that they need to be tested and stuff like that. You get character witnesses and stuff like that. I had references, and they'd call my best friend and ask me about me when I was getting a job here, because there's lots of things. There's sin, yes, I understand that, and forgiving people, but there's also that they need to have nothing against them, as it says, nothing against them. There's sins that you have, but there's also things that you haven't repented from, and you're trying to hide because if you're a sex offender, don't try to get into youth ministry. If you're a child, don't try to do it because it's just not where you should be. You should go, do something else. Do something else in the ministry. All right, that's the end of this day 17. I hope that was helpful to you. Hopeful that you'll look at deacons as something like that you'll aspire to, and elders as well. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow.